Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Growth Capital Podcast. I am your host, Justin Dixon. And today we've got Zack McKibbon on the podcast. He is the CEO of Vellora.AI. It is a CRM AI tool that effectively helps you stay on top of all the things that you need to do during the sales process to close more deals. Actually, this is a very cool episode because we do a little bit of a live demo in the middle of the podcast. So those that are listening to this on the podcast, go check it out on YouTube. But we dive into kind of why he started the business. We talk a lot about his entrepreneurial journey. So I think you get a lot out of this episode if you're looking to start a software business. He actually went through the Antler accelerator in the Austin cohort. So we talk about the accelerator and how that's helped him kind of really ramp up his company. So I think we get a lot out of this episode. So let's get Zack on the pod. Interested in hearing conversations with private equity leaders, CEOs of private equity-backed companies, and startup entrepreneurs where they share their stories about their career journeys, starting, investing in, and scaling successful businesses, and the important role that having the right talent plays in building a successful business, then you are in the right place. Welcome back to another episode of the Growth Capital Podcast. Here's your host, Justin Dixon. All right, Zack, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for being on.
Thanks for having me, Justin. It's a great time to be here today.
Awesome. Well, let's jump right in. Zack, give everybody a little bit of an overview of who you are, where you are, and what you're up to right now.
Sure. Yeah, I'm a software founder, Austin, Texas. Most of my previous projects and companies have been open source. Ironically, the most successful one was we got up to 2.5 million users in 6 months. We didn't monetize it. What I'm building now is very much a for-profit, but it also adds a lot of productivity. We're building, we think of it as the future of sales systems and the way salespeople will work. It's like human/AI hybrid. So we're not trying to replace people with chatbots. We have background AI agents that work and do administrative stuff for actual sales reps. And I'm in Austin, Texas, just outside a coffee shop.
No, that's very cool. I guess so the name of your company is Vellora.AI, right? And so I guess maybe give a little bit of more context. So are you selling this directly into, or is this for like SaaS salespeople or any salespeople, or like maybe give a little additional color on that?
A lot of our early usage has been from SaaS sales teams. So people doing B2B, they get in a lot of virtual calls like this, or into a lot of, even if it's in person, just a lot of meeting time. That's where our system excels. So it records meetings, whether it's in person, virtual, or on the phone, wherever it is. And it takes all that context and basically creates the deal and fills it out with next steps, pain points. Just shows the rep, this is what you have to do next today for this deal to stay green. If it turns red, you're not doing your next steps that you told someone you would do, and then that deal's going to die. It's kind of gamifying the sales process. It's like a CRM that's not painful to use because it's doing everything for you.
Interesting. So if I have a call with a customer or a prospect, do I call through your app so it's listening and recording my phone conversation and then capturing all of the data into that company or person's record within the CRM? And then if I say, oh, I need to I'll follow up you with a proposal, it'll tag that or set that up as a next step for me to do so I don't forget?
That's exactly right. So you can use it on the mobile phone anywhere. It's basically just creating next steps. So in meetings, if a decision maker gets identified, it'll put that in there. If they say they're on a budget freeze, the deal's going to stall and turn red and divert your attention onto deals that actually have real opportunities. So it's kind of focusing where to put the effort on the team. So right now, Salesforce put out a study showing that sales teams only spend about 28% of their time actually selling of Salesforce users. So that's 72% of their time we're trying to recover and focus on actual productive tasks. And then just do this, knock this out. That deal will move forward in the pipeline.
Are they doing like what are they doing, or what did Salesforce provide as what they're doing? Are they using their system, or are they just watching Instagram Reels, or like what's the what did they say they were doing with that other 70% of their day?
A lot of their day goes into admin tasks. So they'll usually spend an hour or two answering emails, spend an hour in the deal board, updating deals, filling out notes and deals, trying to figure out what the next step is on a deal. If you're working on a deal where multiple people are on it, if I worked on this deal, you'd go in there, whether it's HubSpot or Salesforce, and see my giant email chain, and you're like, Zach, what the heck is the next step? How do we close this? And if I don't remember what happened in the last call verbatim, we basically have to guess.
Got it. And is your platform, is it a standalone CRM, or does it plug into Salesforce and other CRMs? So you just you're almost like a go-between for them, or is it a completely standalone CRM?
That's an interesting question. So it is a standalone system. You can use just Vellora without anything else. So if you use Vellora, you'll no longer have to use an AI note taker or a CRM or a tool like Superhuman. It's kind of got all that baked into it. And if you already have a big CRM like a Salesforce or HubSpot, you can just sync it with our system and it'll keep it updated for you.
Interesting. How did you let's go back to the beginning, because I guess when did you start the business, and then why did you start it?
Sure. Yeah. For the last few years, I've just been deep in this space, especially on the sales and RevOps side, seeing what's gone wrong in so many different ways on teams. I've seen teams where the same people on a team will contact the same lead, or about 20% of the deals I've seen fail. They were just missing the next steps. That's all that was missing. A week goes by, deal review comes up, and the team lead says, "What's the next step on this deal?" And the person just doesn't know. Or another problem is it gets to close lost, and no one knows what the true reason why it's lost is. They'll say one thing, but the real reason is a way deeper problem than that. That we would start doing analysis and then focus on and identify these problems that were actually systemic in the sales pipeline. So a couple of our early users found out that all their deals failed basically because their pricing sheet was really confusing. In the last part of their process, they're going through this negotiation. They've already talked about everything else, and then it fails. And the person who creates that process is not the person that's actually in the process. So they don't get all the information about why it's failing. They just hear from the rep, oh, they thought the pricing was bad. And because we can show them it's this specific thing that can actually change the process and close more. And last year I had a different type of business model. It was called LeadWave. And we would do this as a service. So existing tools, HubSpot, Fathom, all these different things, and integrate them together. And I thought it was awesome. But sales reps don't want to have 5 Chrome extensions, and they don't want to learn how to use 5 different apps. So that was the big pain point there. And it showed me that this repeatable problem needed a new product. So that's where Vellora came from. We're just a technical team building a product for this one problem.
That's awesome. And I guess where's the business right now? Like how long have you been kind of building it? Are you generating revenue? Do you have customers? Like where are you at in the kind of evolution of the startup?
Sure. I first came up with the concept for this product November last year.
Okay.
And started working on a prototype. And then I think it was May this year, 2025, actually just launched this startup Vellora with a team around it to build the actual scalable, launchable version of that prototype. So it's been roughly 6 or 7 months, something like that. We're in a private beta right now. It's very simple for a user to onboard. Just click connect your CRM. All the data comes in. And then if you have a Google workspace, you just click sign in with Google. And then that's it. It's all set up. So we're launching in January. Just trying to refine the product a lot before that. We'll work out any kinks or bugs in that process. And the private beta, we're adding people slowly into it, making sure it's all working the way we want.
And are your beta customers, are they typically like SaaS, like sales folks, or are you testing out different industries and, different sales processes and cycles to see if there's, other niches or other areas that, your product or solution could be a benefit for?
That's an interesting one. I thought it would be mostly SaaS companies because SaaS companies are quick to just try something new.
Right.
And we've had a lot of success with them so far as users, but consulting companies, doer sellers, so people that are selling this thing that they're also going to have to do later, have also really liked it so far. A couple manufacturers have liked it, and what I've learned from them is they have a sales process that's so long. It's different from the SaaS sale. It's over 6 months, multiple meetings, multiple stakeholders. As they get months into that process, they just can't remember what the heck they talked about in the first few meetings. So that's
Yeah.
where having all the context in our system really comes in handy for them. It shows them, if they have a question about something specific from before, it's all in there and they can just ask the AI assistant. That's kind of surprised me. The model we trained that does all the analysis was powered by over 100,000 SaaS sales conversations. So that's how we started it.
So if I heard you right, so maybe a good use case or potential like use case customer base are folks that have a fairly long sales cycle, because like you said, if it takes 6 to 12 months to close one deal, it's hard to remember every step of that process and conversation. So if I'm going to meet with a customer that I met with 3 months ago, obviously instead of the old ways, you got to go in and look at all your notes and maybe they're on paper and in the system or whatever. Now with your system, assuming that you've been using it for the entire time, you can query or ask the AI saying, hey, summarize our last 2 conversations and give me kind of the context on what I should be prepared for the next call with John or whoever my contact is. Is that a very simplified version of a way you can leverage the platform?
Yeah, that's exactly it. You could say like, what did John say his dog's name is, or
Oh,
what's that one pain point that could break this entire deal that I don't remember because I was in 6 back-to-back calls and then I took off and never wrote it down. That's all in there. So it's got the context of everything.
and then it also essentially provides you with, I'm sure there's keywords that it listens for on your conversations to say, this is a hot button item, or this is a follow-up thing because you said that, hey, send me some information or send me a quote or send me your pricing list, whatever the request is. And then does it provide like ongoing reminders for the sales rep if they forget to do said task, so that, to your point earlier, it doesn't go from green to red, essentially?
Exactly. I can show you how it works if you'd like to see it. It's Can I share here?
Yeah, we've actually never had a demo live on air. So I don't even know if I can share. I think you can share.
I'll try.
Let's rock and roll. Let's test this out.
If it doesn't work, I'll blame it on my hotspot here.
Now I can see the screen, so at least we've got
So
that part done. So awesome.
creating a deal is super simple. If anyone using a CRM now, you're probably filling out this big form and it's probably making you angry. It's very simple in here. You just give it the company site, the person you're talking to, and it's going to gather all that research on its own and create your deal. Or if you record a meeting, you can just click one button, create a deal out of it. So this is an example of a meeting I just turned into a deal. I was just testing it out in an in-person meeting here, and we talked for a while, and I clicked that one button, turning it into a deal. And then the system actually figured out all these risk factors, positive and negative things in the deal, and then gave me direct next steps that I can knock out to move the opportunity forward. I can ask it anything in here. It can draft follow-up emails, pretty much, anything I'd like to. It's got the ability to, execute next steps on its own. There's always a human in the loop, but it can do a lot of the boring admin work for you. So you can focus on natural language things, talking to people, building relationships, knocking deals forward. The momentum view is really a new part of this. So this is your traditional deal board, but organized by an AI system. So
Mm.
this is my test environment. It's all random stuff in here, but on a real deal board, there'd be green deals, and anything that's falling behind, it's going to put up in the top. So this deal, it would say you have these three next steps. They're really urgent. It's a big opportunity, high value relative to whatever else is in there. And it's turning red because you're not doing these next steps. So they need to be executed, and then it'll turn green again. It's making progress moving forward. This,
And can you,
AI's,
sorry,
sorry.
can you
Yeah.
like customize the flow or the what makes it red or whatever based on your industry? Because like in the recruiting world that I'm in, there probably are different markers or things that require a deal to turn green or red than like a SaaS deal or something like that. Can you like tell it what to make it turn green or red?
Yeah, we can do that. So in the onboarding, the system asks for context. So if you put in just any information you want about your business or what you're selling, it'll actually customize the whole experience around that. So you could even put in your product page, really as much context as you want to give it, it will use, and that'll customize all the analysis. Or it'll
Got it.
also change your next steps if it's drafting a follow up for you to a lead. That context might help it with an answer for something. And yeah, you could. This is basically an AI assistant that's on top of everything. So it's seen all my meetings, transcripts for everything, all my emails, everything I've ever done, or if I'm the leader, everything my team's ever done. And I can basically ask it what I should do right now. So it can tell me, who on my team is failing and at what part of the process. And then if I want to, I can have them do some training. So we can fix that broken part of the pipeline. The pipeline leak is kind of where your whole system's broken. So it's showing you lose most of your leads in these two stages, and then you can ask
Mm.
why. That's one of the newer things.
Awesome. Well, thank you for showing us a little bit about the platform. I'll let folks that are listening and watching this to reach out if they want to do a deeper demo, because I think from what you showed and what you talked about, it seems like there's a lot of I guess human error, right, that goes into winning and losing deals, right? Obviously, people forget or sales reps move, right? I imagine that this is also helpful if your team has had turnover, so that the knowledge of a deal does not walk out the door with a previous sales rep, right? At least you captured all the context, all the calls, all the next steps in that record, and that record stays with the company, and then the next salesperson can literally plug right back in, pick up the baton where the previous person left, and kind of keep the ball rolling. That would be kind of interesting, because there's a lot of chatter about knowledge transfer and kind of loss of knowledge when people leave, because people have things written down on notebooks that are in their house or whatever, and they haven't transposed everything over to the CRM that they're using, and this would potentially eliminate most or all of that.
Yeah, I think you and I could talk about this all day. We're definitely on the same wavelength here. So that that's a big thing too. So, any of those deals, somebody leaves the company, you're kind of screwed if it's a big account and someone owned that relationship. So, in our system, you could just assign that relationship to someone else, and they can pick it up with the full context and jump in it and actually be successful with whatever's been built up in there. We're
Fascinating. I
thinking,
want to kind of talk a little bit about the business side and kind of the growth side, because obviously we could go super deep on use cases and all that fun stuff for the platform. But as a startup founder, I'm always curious about why people start businesses. I'm always curious about their kind of origin story. Is this your first startup, or have you done other things in the past? Walk me through that a little bit.
sure, yeah, I've had a couple different startups in the past, and then been in some companies as an early hire that grew explosively. So I got to see a lot of things go really successful and also a lot of things fail. And I just wound up in this space where been seeing this problem happen for years, and I've wanted to build this product for it. And there's so much human time wasted on sales. I mean, the last 5 years, customer acquisition cost has doubled across the SaaS and tech industry, and it just hasn't kept up with engineering. So I've got a technical background. I love to build stuff, and we can code and build apps with AI, but sales teams still have to do everything manually. It just doesn't add up to me. So it's just kind of driven me to this and wanting to build this. Built a few other SaaS products before, but this is what I'm having the most fun with because even testing it's fun. You can launch a sales training session with a live conversation with an AI that's simulating one of your deals, and it's just a lot more exciting. The era of AI, I think.
Do you feel like within the era of AI, do you feel like that think about this 2, 3, 5 years ago? Do you think that this would be you probably couldn't create it as fast as you can now, right? You can vibe code and do things and get prototypes out there way faster than you could even a year ago. But I guess from what you've seen both as a entrepreneur but also as an early hire, how do you feel it is to be a founder in 2025 versus being an early employee or being a founder in 2020, 2021 or before? Like it feels like now is a lot more time to iterate a lot faster because you can change things much more quickly. Is that a fair statement, or what's your perspective?
It is, absolutely. The last time I was in the founder seat was 2021, and then I ended up joining some other companies after that. But this is so much more exciting now. Instead of it used to be such a grueling process to go from a prototype and a proof of concept to a product people can use that's actually scalable without you sitting there pulling wires and plugging things in the background. So the last time I did this, it was like that. We could launch the front end, but then the back end was a very grueling process. And now in this era, I feel like we can actually rip the chains off that restricted development before. And a lot of these external dependencies that startups or at least startups I've seen have relied on external products and their APIs and high cost kind of going away. You can build pretty much anything you want right now. The open source community's got stuff out there for just about anything that you can get inspired with. Even on the big AI side, there's startups that are getting what they're building is kind of being replaced by things OpenAI puts out incrementally, but they can also build something and just run it on an open source model, and then it's never dependent on anyone else. So
yeah,
I think it's super exciting. And then in the modern web architecture, Next.js, you can pretty much build a full app to run in the web that replaces a need for building a phone app and a desktop app. You can pretty much build anything. You can start in a vibe coding tool and then transition into something more robust. And anyone on the team can build prototypes now. So I'm just loving it. I wish we had more time. I wish I could slow down time to build stuff right now.
Well, you got to keep up with the pace of change, right? And that's the other challenge. Like you said, like you could build something today that OpenAI will crush you and make your business obsolete tomorrow, right? Because they release a new feature or a new version or something. So it's kind of you got to kind of keep up with the pace. I'm curious a little bit about the funding side, right? 2021, if you would have started this business in 2021, you probably could have gotten millions of dollars with nothing more than just a prototype. And now, the private equity and venture capital is not as urgent to put money to work, and even though they probably say they have a ton to deploy. But I don't know if you've raised money or not. I'm just kind of curious what you're seeing kind of in the other founder circles out there on how easy or hard it is to attract capital.
It's been a mix. I don't know, the funding situation pre-2021 seemed more straightforward to me. It was prove something can be successful, and then you get a prototype, some people want it, maybe some letters of intent, And then boom, you go to seed round, you got $1 million, and now you're ready to go. And then 2021, it was just insane. It's just about anything. Okay, you can raise 10 million, doesn't matter what it is. And then now it's the total opposite of that. It's like you pitch to investors and they want to see that you have your product done, you have customers, and you've got revenue. And it's like, well, if I have all those things, why do I need to sell you equity in the company right now? So it's the early stage funding space seems to be, I mean, if you're raising a pre-seed round, find an angel investor with domain expertise. That's what we did. And it really got us started. Someone that had the pain points before in their business and they wanted to fund the solution of it. Talking to professional funds, they really seem to want to be in the space where, okay, you've already done 0 to 1, and now we're going to take this thing to a unicorn, and that's where they want to jump in. We're going through this program now called Antler, which is a little bit in between the two. So you can be at the beginning, but also have some traction, and they're interested in both, and they'd fund both. So that's a good opportunity. Same with Y Combinator.
Talk more about Antler, because they're based here in Austin, aren't they? Antler.
Yep. Antler was founded in Singapore and then expanded globally. So they've got a cohort in Austin, San Francisco, and New York. We're in the one here in Austin, and it's been a lot of fun. It's like it's a lot like Y Combinator, except you're actually working in the space with like 20 other startups at the same time, and it happens a lot more frequently. It's a few times per year at every location all at the same time. So we're going through this cohort in a Slack channel with people also doing it in SF and New York, and you just all get to meet each other. All these experts jump in, and then they'll fund up to $500K of the seed round, basically. So I think it's a great way to get started. It's a cool program. I've seen a lot of accelerators that startups have to pay to get into, which is super weird. I don't know if that makes sense in 2025, where this type of accelerator just seems like a deal flow for a fund, but it's beneficial on both ends.
Yeah. So how did you get into it? Did you have to, I'm assuming you had to apply and kind of prove that you either have a really good idea or have some type of working prototype to get into the program, especially because I'm assuming you also get access to mentors and people that can help you unlock certain things about your product or your business that maybe you weren't aware of or didn't know how to solve. Like, how did that process work if somebody's listening to this and they, have thought about an accelerator and hadn't heard of Antler?
Well, it's been interesting. So Antler seems pretty open to everybody. You could be in the idea stage, you could be going to market or anywhere in between. And they look at it as a privilege to be on the cap table. So they're kind of open to anything that's going to be disruptive and huge. I think they incubated Lovable or were in it at the very beginning. So that's one of the big unicorns that's come out of the Antler program. And that's been the most interesting part of it. So you don't need to have paying customers, or you can have them. You don't need to have your full product finished, or if you already have it. The big thing they want to see is that you just make progress quickly. So it's like a 1 month sprint. You go in there and you figure out your business. How are you going to succeed in the next year? And then what's the money for? And then you meet with the investment committee. It all happens really fast. We accelerated our tech roadmap basically in a 3-week sprint at the beginning of the program, and kind of condensed like months down into that 3 weeks.
Oh, wow. So they run it on a monthly basis. So you've got a month in the program, and then you've got to kind of sink or swim during that month, and they either fund you or they kick you out. Is that kind of sink or swim?
Yeah, exactly. So you have a month to work in the space, and that's when the cohort ends. So you can keep working in the office after, but that cohort is really when all the exciting things happen. And then you've got, months after that, you can still pitch to them if you're not ready for the investment committee. They don't just say no. It's still open there, but that month is like the really exciting time where it lined up with us too, because we want to launch and go to market in January. We did Antler all through October, and we were planning on launching and going to market focused on smaller teams and smaller companies. And all the mentors at Antler basically reoriented that vision. They're like, you guys are going to launch with no profit margin and it's going to be really hard. You're going to have a high churn rate. So now we're focusing on teams of, 5 to 50, and they want those advanced data analytics. They want to see how to make everything more efficient and better, and they have a process. So I don't think that would have happened. It would have taken us a lot longer to figure that out if we weren't going through it now and meeting people that have already figured all this stuff out.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, that's good. That's good feedback for anybody listening that has a startup and maybe they've been banging their head against the wall, for months or years to try to get things off the ground. Sometimes, going into an accelerator can literally do just that: accelerate your growth, accelerate your mindset, put you in or maybe orient you to a different industry or a different submarket, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, I've met with a few accelerators in my day, and they're, most people that I talk to that come out of them seem to be pretty happy with the results. So you're going to launch in January. How big is the team right now? Like, it sounds like you've got at least one or two other people, but how big's your crew?
Sure, I can jump into that. And I like what you said too. So, they say anyone can learn from their own mistakes, but it takes a wise person to learn from other people's mistakes. And I think that's where just, finding great mentors, angel investors, and people that can help in this early stage before you make big mistakes. Like, don't go to market with a low price point. Actually figure out what you're going to do, make it work, refine it, and then, launch and own that wedge was the big thing that came out of the last month for us. So that's something that probably would have taken us 6 months to refine on our own, but now we can skip the hard parts and the pain points and not launch into something that will be painful.
Yeah.
And our team is 5 right now. We're not all in person. We're all remote, but we get to work together and jump back and forth into different things. Almost the whole team is technical right now. Just one doing sales.
And how did you find your team? Did you work with them at other places? Like, I'm always curious about founding teams. I had a guy on, he posted on Y Combinator, apparently has like a co-founder connection tool or something where you can say, I've got an idea and here's the idea, and I'm in sales. I need a technical person, or vice versa. And you it's almost like a matchmaking dating thing, but it's for co-founders. How did you kind of find your team?
Y Combinator Connect is cool. I actually used it to meet some people. We're trying to recruit to our founding team right now, which is
okay.
That's just been a blast. And the other people, one of them I worked together on a startup before, and then on the engineering side, 2 or 3 were just referred to me by someone else that I've worked with. And then one of them I just met at an open source code meetup, and someone else introduced us. So I guess all through introductions or past experience.
Yeah, I find that startups, especially at your stage, most of the people that are on the founding or initial hires are very much network hires. You either get referred to them, or you've worked with them, or something like that. Because it's you need that kind of close knit thing, because you're probably not making a ton of money, or you can't pay as much as maybe they could make at other companies. And so you got to kind of find the people that are aligned to your mission and vision of the business and where it could go and all that fun stuff. So that's awesome. It sounds like you've had a lot of success, and it sounds like 2026 is going to be a big year for you, given the fact that you're going to officially launch and kind of go broader. I guess, how are you? Like, I'm curious about how are you going to launch? Like, I'm assuming you got some type of marketing campaign, but like, are you going to do a big event, or is it just going to be push a button and now you're live and start selling?
It's a combination of all those things. So we're doing some pre-sales now, lining up companies that are ready to transition to the AI era, get them off of the manual work that they're doing, and they go live in January. We're just kind of getting the deals locked in now, and then the rest of our pipeline, a lot of it's come from essentially cold outbound that's automated and referrals. So it's been pretty interesting, but cold email still works really well. We use Instantly for that, and then just reaching out on LinkedIn. people just seem willing to try something new in this space. They're tired of their pain point. So the big thing for us was kind of finding this wedge and then just figuring out how to expand into it.
That's awesome. And I guess, for anybody listening to this that's a founder or wants to be a founder and they've got an idea, like maybe what's some advice you would give them so, to kind of take the leap or to kind of get started? What would you kind of say to them now?
It is hard leaving the corporate world behind because, health insurance and getting paid are pretty good things to have. But
Yep.
If you've got an idea that can really change the world, I think why not just do it? It's if you can make it work. There's so many programs and opportunities out there. There's probably 10,000 accelerators that will offer you money around the world.
Yeah.
You can probably even use like a ChatGPT agent to apply to them at this point. So even during like whatever your role is right now, get as much leverage as possible working on this side. Get your prototype together, get an angel investor, find a co-founder, and just go for it. And just move really fast. I mean, I think time is what kills startups in this stage. You got to cross that chasm from, okay, we've got a great idea and potential to now it's a business generating $1 million in revenue. And I don't think anybody really tells you how big that chasm actually is.
Yeah.
Just until you're generating, 80 or 100K a month, a lot of institutional funds don't even care.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think it's interesting now, like we talked about earlier, like you could start this as a side hustle with you and 2 or 3 co-founders and, not have to quit your job because you can iterate faster. You can, and then, you can take find an accelerator that you can do that, essentially, yes, you may have to take time off work to do it, but there's a lot of ways to do it now where before, even a few years ago, you had to go all in, right? It was hard to do like this as a side hustle, but now I imagine, it could be started as a side hustle. And then once it starts to get some traction or you get some funding, then it's, then the decision to quit your job and jump in both feet. That's that decision point. I guess if we jumped on a podcast a year from now, we're recording this in early November 25. I guess, obviously you're going to launch this year, but what's maybe 1 or 2 other things that you want to have happen in 26 from a company and product perspective, to make that conversation in a year from now, really, really exciting?
I think the big thing is just finding the right people. I really want to find people that are stoked to build and launch this. And it's hard because there's like a curve where there's people that have the talent that you really need, but then they're also really experienced and they need to make 200K and
Yep.
they can't just jump off the stable life that they have. So you've got to find like the crazy people out there with like other people like me that want to build something, from the ground. And then with all the specialized knowledge, I mean, early companies, pretty much everyone's got to be specialized at something. So the whole team's got to just have all like killer domain expertise in whatever they're doing, and then have the technical ability to get it done.
Yeah, no, I love it. This has been an awesome conversation, and we could definitely unpack a lot more, but want to be respectful of time and everything like that. I want to wrap this up the way that I end every podcast, I guess, with a 3-pack of questions. Question 1 here, what is an influential book or podcast that you enjoyed or that you would maybe recommend to the listeners?
The book I think is, Crossing the Chasm. It came up to me just being around in Capital Factory in Austin, but essentially that book is kind of explaining what needs to happen from an investor perspective for your startup to succeed. So from the startup side, it sounds like the milestones are easy. It's like, okay, get this thing, show some investors, get some people that say they want to use it, put it together, validate it. But the chasm's actually a lot bigger than that. It's like you have to create a real business. You need a business plan. You need a 3-year pro forma showing how you're actually going to go to market and launch, and then why you're the person to do it. How you have the best domain expertise to get this all done, and how you've built a team of people somehow that will do this with very little money and disrupt billion-dollar industries. So I don't know. I really like that one. It's got a lot of knowledge packed in there.
Awesome. Yeah, I've had that one recommended. I have not read it yet, but I will definitely, I'll definitely check that one out for sure. All right, second question here. What is your favorite thing to do outside of work?
Geez, my favorite thing outside of work is just get exercise and go outside. I spend so much time orchestrating AI agents to code things. Just being out there in the natural world, going to the gym. Those are my favorite things to do.
Fair
And
enough.
it's also at the gym where my wife's always like, "Why are you at the gym for 2 hours? I know you don't work out for 2 hours," but that's where I have most of my ideas. I'll get on a machine and then I have to stop and go open up the notes app. And, I just solved that problem.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's one of those things where a lot of people have a lot of ideas in the shower. It's because that's the only thing you can focus on is taking a shower, right? Like, now I think a lot of people now they'll listen to podcasts or whatever, but it's kind of like the gym.
Yeah.
I have the same thing where I'm working out and something pops in my brain that I was trying to solve or think about, or it reminds me, I need your system, because I was like, oh, I got to send this person a thing, right, or whatever. So yeah, I can totally appreciate that, and I've definitely been there, jotting down notes in my phone while I'm somebody's waiting for the leg press machine or something like that. So
yeah, I think that's where just a lot of the key ideas come from.
Yeah,
it's that downtime. It's important.
You've got to kind of get away from the desk to have some ideas, and I think some of the best places to do that are nature. So typically I'll go on a run or a walk without my phone or anything in my ears, just to let my brain kind of do what it wants to do and solve problems or think about weird stuff. And yeah, it's good to just get out and get away from the noise of work, essentially. So totally agree with that. Last question here. Favorite vacation spot?
My favorite vacation spot's always going to be Florida, I think.
Okay.
But I love mountains. I grew up with a lot of hills and mountains, so I just love going to St. Pete's Beach, that old part of Florida. It's like bodybuilder competitions on the beach, really clean water, and it's warm all year. So
yeah.
That's definitely my spot.
No, it's fair enough. I went to St. Pete back in March of 2020, right before COVID started officially. Yeah, no, very cool. Awesome. Zack, man, really cool to connect with you. Thank you for doing the demo live on air, as it were. And also, just sharing your story. And it sounds like you've got a lot of exciting things going on in 2026 and beyond. So if people want to learn more about you, learn more about your business, et cetera, what's the best way to connect with you?
I think just on LinkedIn. I'm pretty active on there, and anyone I meet on there too, we usually just switch to my email. So
awesome.
And then cool. that helps me stay on top of everything, because Vellora's always moving my emails around. It's like, here's someone trying to meet with you. It helps me stay organized.
Very cool. Very cool. We'll have that in the show notes so people can find you on LinkedIn super easily. Zack, man, really appreciate the time and sharing your story. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, thanks, Justin. I had fun too. And I think it was a great opportunity to come on the show with you. Thank you.
I hope you found at least one actionable insight from this episode of the Growth Capital Podcast, your one-stop shop for insights from private equity leaders, CEOs, and startup entrepreneurs on starting, investing in, and scaling successful businesses, as well as the role having the right talent plays in growing a successful business. It would be greatly appreciated if you would rate and review this podcast. And if you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe and drop us a comment so we can expand the audience of this podcast. Thank you for all your support, and don't forget about upcoming episodes dropping every Tuesday.